Welcome back to the Optional Boss Podcast. This is episode 29, where we are going to discuss some of those tasty Game Award nominees. And, Tyler, what's going on?
It's that time of year again, folks. The old Kegels is gonna come knocking at your door telling you what you're gonna buy next year.
Yeah, let's be honest. People watch the Game Awards not so much for the actual awards, it's for the nominations. Right?
Well,
Or for the announcements.
The world premieres, yes.
This is another world premiere.
Now, that said, the Game of the Year awards are just always exciting. One, because it's like, I don't care about the Emmys or the Grammys or any of that stuff. But hey, if you want to sit and have a discussion about what video games are good, I'm on board. And it's basically the Emmys of that. However, it's also just as predictable and... So
are you going to watch it this year?
I don't know. I'm going to find out what happens for sure. But as for it all depends on what I'm doing at the time. Because it is cool to watch these games get revealed. But at the same time, I don't know. If there's always been a nice blunder at these in the last couple of years. And I haven't gotten to see them live as well. So
no.
I'm going to see old Kegels politely kick someone off the stage again. But
I wonder if they're going to have better security this time.
But there is it's a weird sense of pride if a game that you are actually really fond of wins an award. It's like, maybe this is what it's like to be a sports fan. I don't know. But it's just that whole like, yeah, we did it, guys, all because we liked this thing. So the Game Awards are a fun novelty that I don't mind coming around every year. As for how I've been, sick. Very, very
sick.
Very sick. I have been grappling with a really nasty head cold for the last little while, so I apologize to my audience if you get a little here and there, but the show must go on. And
if I'm good at what I do, you shouldn't hear any of that kind of stuff. You just might sound stuffy.
I might sound a little stuffy, yes, but it has left me, unfortunately, not in the most motivated place for gaming with my free time. I've been trying to sleep, so I haven't gotten around to starting anything all that new since beating Lies of P. Now, since then, beating Lies of P, I have just kind of messed around with its new game plus, and it's much harder, and it's fun to be a lot more experimental with it. Like, the game does so many things right. There's also, I haven't tried it since, but it got that new patch that actually changed quite a few things about it. So,
yeah.
So, I've had my fun with it. I'm definitely ready to move on, but I'm also kind of in that, like, I haven't been able to start something big yet. So I'm just kind of tinkering around with it because I know I'm going to stop whenever I feel.
You know what you should do?
Yes, I do. And I haven't done it yet.
Because I think this episode may mark the anniversary of the challenge being committed.
It sounds about right.
Or when we actually...
No,
well, last year
we
combined them.
Would it not have been at the start of the year that the challenge was issued? Like maybe in the anticipated games? I don't know. People, listen to our episodes and let us know in the comments below. But it has been a while.
Yeah,
and I know...
It's been a while.
I know that you have held up your end of the bargain and played Final Fantasy 3 or 5, in your case 3 so far, which
yes,
I need to get around to Omori. And to my defense, it is in my Switch. I have put it in the console, and I have not started it.
That means nothing until you've started it.
This is true. I will be getting around to Omori very soon. I do have some time available to me, and I have had a hankering for an RPG, and I know you have praised this thing all to hell. So I am,
and I think a big part of my praise is just because I like that like psychological horror type of aspect. Like I don't like the jump scare horror. I like the more like psychological things that make you say, "What the fuck?"
Speaking of jump scare horror, I actually only maybe an hour before getting into this recording just finished watching the FNAF movie.
And
all right, well, I'm not much of a movie guy, so people can, and yes, I am a video game person, and I know things about the Five Nights at Freddy's series. I'm not a fan by any means, but I do find the wackiness of the lore kind of compelling all the same. And
sure,
if you just took it away from what it was and it was its own standalone movie, not good. The writing is almost hilariously bad at points. Like, it's not god-awful. The acting itself wasn't horrible. It was cheesy, but cheesy fits for what this wants to... Like, it's a kid's horror movie. It's on the level of something like the Goosebumps TV show. But all the same, for a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, you know what? It actually wasn't too bad.
Better than what you would have anticipated.
Better than I would have anticipated, but I mean, it didn't blow me away by any means. I'm not about to... This isn't the Super Mario Bros. Movie. It's not gonna... But
that's fair.
If you're at least remotely interested in the series, and you're up to... Like, this is one that, like, I don't have kids, but I could say, you probably get away with the kids watching this one, and no one's going to be too terrified from it. It's a movie.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I have no desire, but good for it.
I'm not gonna be like, you gotta watch it. It's landmark cinema. No.
You gotta watch it, pal.
Yeah. I'm wondering how it's gonna
can't wait for the Minecraft movie.
See, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm wondering how it would stack up against Monster Hunter. And I know Monster Hunter's gonna be just god awful, but I have to watch it.
I feel like Monster Hunter was garbage.
Oh, probably.
I'm pretty sure it was. I haven't seen it, but
why?
No, that might be another like fans versus.
If in the trailer, right? You have what's her name, Mia Jovovich, just launching a rocket launcher at a Diablos. Like, I hate to say it, you have my attention for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
There's a reason we're not a movie review podcast.
Yeah, movie no good.
They're not exactly
Granted,
our forte.
No, not at all. Reviews in general, I don't think we really strive at. We have opinions, and we spout opinions into these little round microphones.
Well, we've never really... I guess Blasphemous is our closest thing to a quote-unquote review. Well, and I guess Mindy's. But yeah, we don't really go for a hard-hitting journalist-style review. We're just two guys that just ranting about games we played. Yeah,
pretty much. Speaking of Mila Jovovich, you've seen the Resident Evil movies?
I have seen 1, 2, and 3, I believe. I know I've seen the first two a bunch, and I believe I did see the third one like in theaters when it came out, and I have not seen any beyond that. And there's 6?
Yeah, I think I've seen 5 of them.
Jeez.
I will say this: like the first 2 were pretty good, and then the director just loved his slow-mo.
Yeah. No, they became very, like, I'll admit the first one was like, I don't know enough about Resident Evil to pick it apart, or I didn't at the time. And it was like, this is a fine movie for what it is. You got your T-virus, you got your zombies, and you even had what it was like, the liquor was the big scary monster enemy. It served its purpose. There was a resident, and there was also some evil.
Yes.
Yeah. And the second one, not bad, because it like did the whole Raccoon City thing. It's like, okay, this adds up to the games.
A little more expanded.
It was, but I can get behind it because it is refer. And then the third one is like, suddenly we're in the desert. It's
the apocalypse. Yeah. Is the third one the apocalypse?
Maybe.
I don't know anymore.
Not a movie.
Oh
podcast.
No, another hive.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
As for what I've been up to is I beat Liza P.
Yeah.
I liked it.
That's a good verdict. Now, what are your thoughts as a Souls game?
It certainly earns that classification.
That's pretty much, I would say, the same.
I don't know how else to really compare it. Like, it is a Souls game through and through from its core.
If I was in the mood for a game like that and I didn't have a new one to play, it would be in my rotation of those games to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I decided to go for a little bit of a small game, and don't know if I'm going to finish it. Just I'm glad I've experienced it for as far as I have. Crystallis for NES.
That's a peculiar one. It's one that, like, you don't ever hear anyone say anything bad about it, but you don't hear people talk about it much.
It's not like Zelda that you hear all about or anything like that. It has its fans and it does get praised, but it's a little rough around the edges.
Would you say Crystallis is kind of like in the vein of something like Star Tropics? Like, you know, it has its fans, but not its popularity.
Yeah. I'd say it's a little more popular than Star Tropics. I wouldn't be surprised.
Interesting.
Yes.
So it's like an action RPG, right?
Yeah, so like you're still gaining levels and you have XP and whatnot, and you're still pretty much expected to go to the shops every town that you visit and change out armor and all this kind of stuff. It seems to go off elements, so you're constantly switching the sword and kind of accessory that you have. So you can do like bigger charge up attacks. Almost like you know what it's actually kind of like? Is Secrets of Mana.
See, I kind of got a bit of that vibe because it's one of those ones that, because it's on the NES Online, that I know I've booted up time and time again, gotten out of like starting a cave and then you kind of up in like an overworld. Yeah, so not too far into that overworld, I go, this is neat. I should sit down and try this sometime, and then I don't.
And that's pretty much what I've been doing for a long time, and now I've actually gone like I'm a few bosses in. I'm at some kind of like general dude in a cave that kidnapped everyone.
Like it seems worth my time.
Yeah, it's worth checking out if you have nostalgia for the NES.
You know, it's funny, I didn't get much time with it, but I did also recently try a more obscure title for the NES recently. I picked up... Yeah, so I got a copy of the limited run version of... it's a Konami game that we haven't had much of those in a while, but it was their, like, newer take on their old classic Getsu Fumaden, which...
Okay.
Yeah, so to describe the game that I intentionally purchased, it's surprisingly like Dead Cells by Konami, which is very weird because Dead Cells has done Konami better than Konami lately.
Yes.
So it's weird to see Konami do Dead Cells and Dead Cells. But it's a very similar
Dead
kind
Souls, Dead Cells.
Dead Cells is very Souls. Yes. But it's the same kind of, randomized level structure. You can try to find better weapons and get to the end of the level and fight a boss. Very similar. Didn't really dabble into it too much because it's like I just want to check it out, but it's not what I'm playing right now. However,
And it's not a Mori?
And it's not a Mori, yes. But on the cart, and I didn't know it was going to have this, but it's a port of the original, and probably played it for about 5 minutes, but it is... so very Zelda 2 that it hurts.
That actually has my interest peaked.
Yeah,
and
no. It's like Samurai Zelda 2.
This might be a hot take, but I actually enjoy Zelda 2.
I think I think the criticism is actually kind of smooth on Zelda 2 because it is no longer and you could almost kind of see this with Simon's Curse. Yes. People have kind of softened
2.
Yeah, they've softened their criticism on these really weird sequels and are starting to just look at them as something with their own identity. And I think Zelda 2 has gotten a little bit more... I mean, Nintendo's not shy of Zelda 2 anymore. They used to be.
Oh, they absolutely used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, now I can play it on the go on my little... the Game & Watch thing.
Game & Watch Zelda?
Great screen, just useless thing. Glad I have it. But yeah, the original Getsu Fumaden is like got that overworld kind of style, and then you go into dungeons and it's all 2D side scrolling, and it's kind of a Zelda 2 Castlevania-ish mix. I don't know. It's something I would like to spend a little bit more time with though. After a Mori.
Yep. After a Mori.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
I think at this point in the year it's required.
Because we are going to have a discussion, whether that's going to be a full episode or just like a bit of an episode.
Game off.
Yes.
Yes.
Or one where we talk about the challenges that we had for each other. That's always an option.
Well, that's actually what I was thinking is, we would just kind of do this thing each year where I issue a challenge to you and vice versa. And by the end of the year, or I guess by our release schedule, we'll have to see possibly the start of next year, is will be. So how did you fare with the challenge?
Yep.
Still thinking real
challenge
hard about
complete episode.
What I'm going to do for next year. So we'll have to ponder something interesting. It's mostly just going to be the what RPG did they challenge the other one to this year? Yeah.
Oh. So, don't know if I'm going to finish Crystallis. I'd like to, but something else came up that was very, very excited for. So I had to pick it up, and I started playing it.
Yeah.
And oh god, it is. I love it. I love everything about it, and that is Super Mario RPG.
See, I can't play it until I finish Omori. It's upsetting.
You got to do Omori.
I really want to play this remake. Oh,
it is so faithful. There's a few changes that I've noticed that I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So
that they're very nitpicky. I'll say that.
It's
I
a
made
new
it sound
product,
worse than what it actually is.
It
is absolutely a new product.
You're coming from it from someone who is a big fan of the original, so of course, any minor tweaks that you notice, you could be like, well, that's not, but I still don't hate it.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
One example is just naming someone one of the bosses out of all things different. Instead of Mac, it's Clay Morton.
Clay Morton's clever. He's a sword. But I did like Mac the Knife more. I don't know what it's supposed to be a reference to, but all the same, it's how I know these characters, right? Yeah, I did see, because this is a game I'm not scared to look a little into, just because I know it. Super Mario RPG.
You've played it, although you never beat it, did you?
I have never beat it, yes.
And I just beat it this year, I think.
It's one of those ones that, I've always wanted to go back and finally finish, and it's just been at the back of my mind. And now that this remake is just I almost have no excuse now.
I will say some of the timing feels a little off, but that's fine because it's a lot easier.
It's fine because it's Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
I have been under the impression that it's been made easier, though.
Yes, there is an easy mode and a normal mode. Normal feels easier.
Oh, no. And it was already a fairly beginner-friendly RPG to begin with, right? It did have its challenge in the original, but it wasn't nail-bitingly difficult.
Oh, God, no.
This isn't no Shin Mario Tensei.
But yeah, very faithful. The new music is great. You can have default controls or the new modern controls to it.
Yeah.
So you should be able to play it the exact same way as you did the Super Nintendo version, if you so choose, if you are more comfortable. I had to do that.
Have you tried it with the Switch SNES controller?
No, I need to.
Ooh, yeah, because if I can play it that way, that is going to be my ideal way to play it.
Yes, it is not charged at the moment, and I should be having that on charge right now.
But it's still got all that wonderful charm that Super Mario RPG is known for. Yes.
One of the other naming conventions that I didn't care for, but again, it's just who really cares? This is nitpicky stuff, and I get that it's nitpicky stuff. Frogicus.
Oh, Frogfucius.
The Tadpole Pond. Yeah, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
It's just Frog Sage.
Oh.
It's oh.
That makes him seem so much more generic, especially when he's supposed to be kind of a main character-ish.
Yeah. I mean, you always go to him for information and stuff, and it's just Frog Sage.
Yeah, he's pretty... it also simplifies. Who's going to know... you don't really hear Confucius anymore. It might not even be... problematic. Moving on.
It doesn't matter. Just give me those old names. But it's good. Some of the bosses, like Mac or Clay Morton, I can actually tell what they were. And looking back at the old sprites, it's like, oh shit, yeah, I never picked up on what this actually was before.
Oh, that's
because I thought it was
interesting.
Yes, it's thrown me off. Like Mac, I didn't realize is just he's a small dude on a pogo that looks like a sword.
Did you just think it was just a sword with a head?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's a little guy.
Which is similar to Neo Squid, right?
Neo Squid.
Or whatever the sword's name is.
The giant sword
That
that in the castle
crashes into Bowser's castle. Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but yes, I do. I know what you mean. No, he's just this little fella. He's even got a little cape.
Yeah, I thought it was just a giant sword. I never realized that. And then I saw that it's like, well, son of a bitch.
Pixel art, isn't it fantastic?
Kind of ruined it. It kind of made me sad. But at the same time, it's like, shit.
You can't unsee it now.
I can't unsee it, and I feel kind of stupid now.
Yeah.
But that's nothing new.
Nah, well, I heard they removed some pop culture references. It seemed like a bit easier. I did also hear something about potential post-game content, which I don't want to look into, but if it exists, that's pretty swell.
Well, I'm Star Hill, I think it's called.
Okay, yeah. So that's just before
Seaside
Rosetown?
Seaside Town.
Hmm.
Is that Rosetown? No,
Rosetown's like the third one you go to.
Yeah, Rosetown is the
bow.
Bowyer. Yeah,
Bowyer, which I always thought was like Bowser spelt wrong, but no.
This guy's imitating. This guy's a phony.
He's a phony.
No, this it was the star that you get right before Seaside Town. So yeah, I've entered Seaside Town. That's kind of where I left off, but everyone's just kind of, you know how it goes.
So
something's fishy in Seaside Town.
Friend of mine sent me a screenshot, which is funny because I remember the last time you were telling me you were saying you were about in Booster's Tower, and
yep,
there's the one snippet at the desk. And on his desk, I don't know if you caught this detail, but he sent this specifically to me for this reason. On his desk, he has a little toy Magitech armor from Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Which I
did not pick that up.
I'm wondering if that was actually what the thing on his desk, if there was in the original game, or if not, Final Fantasy VI Remake confirmed. That would bring me joy.
I mean, in that art style, I think it would be fine.
It'd be really weird if they did it like at a 3D isometric, but it'd be an interesting throwback kind of weird.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a blast with that. I'm excited to see some of the other stuff, and I will let you know about post-game content. Because you're going to be busy with Amori.
Yeah, I'm very aware. But now it's a shame that Mario RPG, for how great it's chopping up to be, that it won't probably end up in the category for best RPG this year.
No, it will not, because the nominees were already out before this game came out.
Yeah, and
which who knows? Like the year's not even out, and it's not a full year. This is why the bosses come out January 1st.
We have our opinions, and they are to be taken seriously.
Unlike the Kegels.
Oh, fucking. But what do you think? Should we cue up some tunes and then get into this deep dive of why we are old and don't understand what's current?
Absolutely, and might as well give it a little heads up. We are once again skipping a lot of the esports categories because...
What?
Let's cue up some music and get to it. I don't know what song that was, but I'm sure it was a banger. So Game Award nominees are out. We are not going to combine it into one giant episode like we did last year where it was over 3 hours. No, none of that. We're going to release the nominees and then we're going to do the after Game Awards discussion as one of the next episodes.
Yeah, hopefully we're a little bit more prepared for the Game Awards last time because it was like, this should be short, and it turned out there's a lot of things announced last year. Oh,
and geez. Probably this year.
Yeah. we'll have to go in with something a little bit more strategized. But you know what? That's the whole fun thing about us whole figuring it out. If you're still with us through this, thank you. And now we can stumble it. How do you think we should do this? Like back and forth, like we did last year, and then if
we'll
get
go back
boring
and forth
chunks,
like we did last year.
Like because
We'll go back and forth.
I do
last
remember
year,
last year we got it. So it's like I'm gonna have a category that's decent, and you get sports, and then so we'll play it as it goes. But
you know what? I wasn't prepared for this, but so ignore the paper sound and the pen sound. I'm gonna write these down and figure out what we guess on each one.
It's too dark in here for me to find a pen.
That's fine. I'm gonna write down both just based on the number instead of writing it out, so you don't hear too much chicken scratch.
Beautiful.
On my end.
All right. So
I will start out, and
You're gonna start us off. All right.
I'll start us off with best esports game. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports, we don't fucking know. I'm sorry, guys.
Games,
but we got Counter-Strike 2.
Yeah.
We got Dota 2.
Yeah.
League of Legends, PUBG Mobile, and Valorant.
Why is it specifically the mobile PUBG?
I don't know.
That's weird.
It is very weird.
So I don't care about any of these. However, the one that I would want to vote for would be Counter-Strike 2 if it weren't for the fact that all I've heard... First, I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. It's just like, oh yeah, no, Valve putting out new Counter-Strike. It's like, that seems like it should be a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah, kind of just a surprise.
Yeah, and I heard it was really bad. So...
I think there were some issues at launch that I think have been fixed. I don't know.
I'm going to say Valorant because it's the one I'm going to say.
That's fair enough. I'm going with Counter-Strike 2 just because I used to be a big Counter-Strike person. No idea if it's good or not, but it made it on this list for a reason.
I feel
PUBG
like...
desktop version or console version.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where we're really not going to know who's content creator of the year, which I don't know what they consider content, but it's not what I consider it. These people might be good at what they do. I don't know. But we have Iron Mouse. People make game. I don't know. People make games. Quackity, Spreen, or Cypher PK. What's a Spreen?
It's next to the spleen.
This is Quackity.
I like Quackity just for the name, though. I'm going to go with People Make Games just because I know I can't.
People make games and their logo, just PMG, whatever it is. I don't know. This doesn't look like a streamer, which is why it gets my vote.
All right.
Yeah.
PMG for both of us.
All right. Now into stuff that makes more sense.
Yes. So this is one that...
I already know why.
I think we're going to be on the same page here.
This is difficult now.
Most anticipated game, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, which I haven't actually even heard of, Tekken 8. And I'm going to go with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just because, finally.
Okay, so Tekken 8 is exciting for people who like Tekken. I'm surprised it's on the general most of it, but fighting games have kind of gotten a lot more notoriety lately, so I'll give it that.
They've gotten a bit of love.
Outlaws is not a Star Wars game I've heard of. So, what is really interesting of this grouping, however, is to see Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, otherwise known as the Yakuza series, sitting in the... Oh,
shit.
Yeah, so they got the official name change, right? What?
Not that, because I knew about the name change. They did that sometime last year, I think.
Yeah.
Star Wars Outlaws is done by Ubisoft, not EA.
Oh, that's weird.
Sorry, that just threw me off there.
Yeah, EA's usually, but I'm gonna say Final Fantasy VII, but it's really hard to say that stacked up to Hades 2. So, Hades is really good, but yeah,
Hades is really good. I think they're gonna have a hard time capturing that magic in a bottle again.
I do as
well.
I'd like
to be proven wrong.
As where 7 Rebirth really only has uphill to go, right? Like,
yes,
the ending of 7 Remake just makes you want more, and more has arrived apparently a lot lot more. So, yeah,
Yes.
7 Remake.
I'm excited.
All right, so next up we have, and funny enough, we actually touched on this earlier in the episode. We have Best Adaptation.
Yes, we did.
So, and this is interesting to see at the Game Awards now that we have enough of this to do so. However, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game into another entertainment medium. So, we have, and I haven't gotten to watching it yet, but Castlevania Nocturne, we have Gran Turismo, which still makes me giggle that that's a thing. The Last of Us, which did well, I think. I don't know. I'm not a Last of Us fan. The Super Mario Bros. Movie and Twisted Metal. So no FNAF movie here.
So you came out too late for this.
I want to say Castlevania Nocturne just because I did really enjoy the last Castlevania series. However, because I have seen the Mario Bros. Movie and was quite impressed by it, and honestly think it's going to be the one that's going to win, but I'm going to say Mario.
Yeah, I'm stuck between The Last of Us and Super Mario Bros. I'm going to say Super Mario, though.
That movie was a pretty big deal.
It really was. And for, like, the amount of praise and talk that it got afterwards, it earns its spot.
If I had seen Castlevania, I might be singing a different tune, but I have not made the time to watch it yet. So, yeah, until then, Super Mario Bros. Fair. I think it deserves some time in the spotlight.
It was a good movie. It wasn't like blowing your mind or anything, but you just had fun.
It did a good job.
Next up is Best Multiplayer. And do either of us play multiplayer games?
Well, I'm looking at their list, and what they define as multiplayer is very interesting this year.
So we got Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Huh.
Oh. Yeah. I've only played one of these.
So, as far as, like, multiplayer, usually my mind goes to, I guess esports might tackle this one a little bit better nowadays, but, like, I think, pretty strictly online multiplayer, in which I would think, like, Diablo 4, but, I'm not going to say Super Mario Bros. Wonder, just because as great as it is, I'm sure, for multiplayer, Mario, even if it hasn't, isn't what I think of as a multiplayer experience. I'm actually going to say Street Fighter 6.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's just like that. That's the core basis of it, is multiplayer, is just fighting each other. And it turned out really, really good.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm assuming Party Animals is kind of the same idea. I don't know. I don't know what Party Animals is.
It looks Baldur's like Alligator 3, Fall Guys. Yeah, Baldur's Gate, I actually didn't realize it had multiplayer, which I guess makes sense, but it's still odd.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's. I think Divinity: Original Sin had multiplayer as well. But I'm not too. I don't hear people talk about it. If I heard people talk about Baldur's Gate 3, I'd say yes.
Not as a multiplayer game, though.
No. I hear lots of discussion about it, but not in a multiplayer sense. So I'm going to say Diablo 4.
That's a pretty safe pick, I think.
Just to be a bit different.
All right. Here's a real thrilling category for all of our fans who know us so well. We have Best Sports/Racing. Thank you for grouping them together. I'm so glad this is the two other categories. Best Traditional and Non-Traditional Sports and Racing Game. I remember last year we were very, very confused about the term non-traditional, and I guess racing. It's a lot of racing, which is nice. We have EA Sports FC 24, so football, soccer. We have F1 23, Edge soccer. No, cars.
Formula 1.
Formula 1.
You did this last year.
Forza Motorsport, which is cars. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and the Crew Motorfest. Hot Wheels. I like those. That's my vote.
I was going to say Hot Wheels, but I honestly think I've heard more of Forza, so I'm going to go with Forza because I mean EA Sports lost the FIFA title. That's hilarious.
That is surprising.
That makes me. They wanted more money, and they didn't want to give more money.
That's got to say, though, this has been a pretty rough sports year when sports games that are most recognized for being cars.
Yeah.
Our best athlete is an engine.
Yeah, the combustion engine never fails.
Moving on.
Best sim strategy. So we got Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. This could have been on last year's. City Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4. And honestly, I mean, I know lots of people were talking about Advance Wars before it was out, and now I hear nothing of it. City Skylines 2, I really don't hear as much as I used to, or not used to, but like I did with City Skylines. Company of Heroes 3, I didn't even realize that came out. Sorry, Sega. Fire Emblem Engage, didn't hear much about it. I'm going to go with Pikmin 4.
I was actually going to say, I'm quite surprised that, now I'm not going to say I know a lot about the Company of Heroes series, but this seems like another one that just kind of, just came out. And to be on a Game of the Year nomination, Advance Wars I feel bad for. People were excited, and then it got held back for reasons of trying to be sensitive, and then I don't think it sold well. And that's a shame. Now, what perplexes me about this is because this is a Best Sim and Strategy category, and I know that this year had a lot of sim strategy. Like, I think there was a Tactics Ogre game that came out. There was, I think, Dio Field Chronicles, like a lot of those old school tactical RPGs, right? And none of those are on here. We do have Fire Emblem Engage, which, I mean, I'm not the biggest Fire Emblem fan, so I'm not really one to say much.
I didn't hear much good things about. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't hear anything about Engage. Where Three Houses, I heard a lot about.
Okay, so Three Houses was very divisive because it did a lot of things differently. People either loved it or you were an actual Fire Emblem fan and you hated it. Such is my perception, and it seems like Engage was kind of going back closer to its roots. But I think it just kind of was. Everyone was like, "Yeah, that was okay, I guess." So
yeah,
I gotta say Pikmin. I don't care for the series, but I've seen enough of Pikmin 4 to know that it is very much enjoyed by the people who enjoy it. And I
will say this: I want to pick up all 4 Pikmin now.
Well, I mean, they're all on the Switch. It just makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like a really solid game though for being like a new Pikmin game. So yeah, that gets my vote.
No, absolutely. Pikmin 4. Why not?
Yeah, we got some repeat customers here now. For Best Family, I'd much rather they said Best Family Game instead of just Best Family. It just sounds weird. But the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. So here's one that just came and went. Disney Illusion Island.
Yep.
It got really hyped up and then it just came out and no one seemed to talk about it. Party
Kinda
Animals.
Like Advance Wars.
Yeah. Pikmin 4, once again. Which, I don't know how much that is a family experience. It seems like a pretty independent game, but I could be wrong. Sonic Superstars or Mario Wonder. Mario wins the family title. He's always gonna.
I'm going to say Mario Wonder because Nintendo finally found a way to give kids LSD.
Oh, did they ever? It's just like Touch Fuzzy Get Dizzy the game.
I haven't played it. I want to.
I do as well. It's very low on my priorities, but Mario is always one of those things, like whenever I get it, I have a good time. I just never think about how good of a time I'm going to have, so I never rush to get it. But this one there are amazing things being said about it. Wondrous things, you might say. And yeah, I don't know. It looks like a pretty just solid new, but not, quote, new game in the Mario franchise. And I'm into it. It seems like they changed some stuff up with the badges. I get to be Luigi. Can't go wrong.
I don't get excited for 2D Mario games, but that I'm actually kind of excited for. Like, it's not high on my priority list by any means, but it's a game that I'm certainly going to get and be like, yeah.
What I think
this is a new childhood.
So have you seen much about Sonic Superstars?
No. I've heard that it's kind of back to Sonic being back.
Ish. It's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of situation from what I've seen. Mind you, not the
Yep.
biggest Sonic fan, but what I think is really weird is Sonic Superstars has a lot of Mario in its DNA, and Mario Wonder has a lot of Sonic in its DNA. Like, when I
They
saw
did it.
Mario Wonder at first, I was like, wow, this really looks like a Sonic game, but Mario. But yeah,
It's funny. There's ROM hacks like that.
I played some real
No,
weird ROM
what
hacks
makes me
back
happy
in the
about
day.
Mario Wonder is they were just left to do their thing. There was no time constraints on it. There was no deadlines they had to meet. They just had fun with it, and clearly it's been paying off because of all the praise it's gotten.
Well, not only that, it's just nice to see like a new conceptual 2D Mario, right? Like
Absolutely.
this feels like how different something like Mario 1 to Mario 3 to Super felt, right? As
Yeah.
where all of the quote new Mario games were all very formulaic, which not that they were bad, but this is clearly something that
Thank
people
God
got
they
sick
dropped
of.
that name.
Yeah. It hasn't been new for about 20 years.
No, not at all. Next category is Best Fighting. And we got God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, minus the Switch version, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say there's actually only 2 contenders in this category, and then there's just 3 other people who happen to be here.
I think there's 1 contender in this category and 4 other people that are just kind of here.
Well, so a new Mortal Kombat's a pretty big deal, and this one actually did a lot right. But I think Street Fighter 6 is the much more inviting game. It's still brutal and insanely technical, but I think Capcom did a lot right with Street Fighter 6 from what I've seen. Like, I do hope to get it one day, but I'm not paying full price for it. Now, I don't know what... Yeah, I've never heard of God of Rock. It looks funny. Like...
It's a rhythm fighting game? I don't know.
I don't know. It just might just be a fighting game with goofy, musically inspired characters. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 is this year's Smash clone, and I've heard it's a fun time, but it's no Smash Bros, and it's never gonna be a Smash Bros.
No, I know number 1 was like hyped up like crazy, and a lot of people had fun with it, but then it just kind of dropped away.
Yeah, and I think this one didn't get the hype because that one just kind of dropped away. And I don't know what Pocket Bravery is.
Sounds like a mobile fighting game.
Kind of does, doesn't it? I would accept a title like that on the Game Boy, but we are no longer there. So my money goes for Street Fighter 6. That's my personal pick for fighting game.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do we... Ooh, this is always a pretty contentious category. We have a Best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experience. No, that is not my...
Well, it's kind of funny because I think the only multiplayer game on here is Baldur's Gate 3, which we just learned about.
Whoa, okay. This is an interesting list. Like, not knocking boots with the big boys. So, we have Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. I'm already going to say no to Space Skyrim. That's pretty simple.
I'm surprised it made it here. I heard it was still loading.
I'm sad that of the 4 available, that a Final Fantasy, let alone a numbered Final Fantasy, is like my bottom pick. Well, okay, my bottom, but we know Space Skyrim doesn't matter. So, Baldur's Gate 3 is interesting to see in so many of these categories because Baldur's Gate was always like a very revered franchise, but by no means one that garnered mass appeal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then this is where things get tricky for me because there's Sea of Stars, which you've played and I have not, but I have been highly anticipating it. And the fact that this little indie gem just made its way to the best RPG of the year in its debut year, that's pretty huge. Especially like, this is a pixel game in a very...
Sea of Stars is fucking wonderful. You have no idea, and your name is in the credits.
I know.
You have a tombstone in it. You don't even know, because you haven't played it more yet.
Yep. That has been my barrier that I hope to shatter. But because it is what I have played, and not only because it's what I've played, but thoroughly enjoyed, my money's going for Liza P on this one. Even though, in my own personal definition of what an RPG is to me, it would be closer to Sea of Stars, I can't rightfully do that without knowing that I want to play it and haven't, but I have played Liza P.
So I've played 3 of these. Space Skyrim, I mean, I wish Starfield had a bit more talk about it now.
I wish it all the best.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Okay, but I want companies to do well, because the better companies do, then the more creativity that we get out in the world, then the more people are pushing one another.
I won't disagree with that.
That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
Who I want to win? Sea of Stars, hands down.
I would like
who
them
I
to win.
Who I think is going to win is Baldur's Gate 3.
I think
which I'm alright with too.
Yeah, as far as RPGs go, like I said, my pick's Liza P because I really liked it, but as for what an RPG is, Baldur's Gate, just been knocking it out of the park this year.
Baldur's Gate follows the well, I don't know about 3. I can't speak for 3, but 1 and 2 were based on Dungeons and Dragons. Rule set. So
Baldur's Gate is a Dungeons and Dragons franchise.
Yeah, it is straight up. So you're doing Liza P. I didn't write down your thing.
Yes, I choose Liza P.
So Baldur's Gate 3 for me. Although I'd be happy if Sea Stars got it.
I'd be thrilled if they did.
I'd be happy if any of these, aside from, and sorry to the fans, but not Skyrim.
I think we're starting
not Starfield.
No, Starfield. No offense to people who like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we're starting to get into categories that we're going to see a lot of the same ones all the way up till Game of the Year.
I think so.
Yeah.
Next category is Best Action Adventure. We got Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Todic. Honestly, I don't know about Alan Wake 2. I haven't played any of the Spider-Mans for the PlayStation, so I don't know anything about Spider-Man 2. I have played Resident Evil 4. Star Wars Jedi Survivor haven't played, and Todic I haven't played. I'm gonna go with Resident Evil 4. It was a really good remake.
I'm actually kind of surprised to see Jedi Survivor here, because that seemed like a game that really came and went, and so it's always interesting when an earlier in the year release manages to show up on these lists, because I know a lot of the times the Game of the Year it's the hottest, most recent release 2 months beforehand. So
yes,
something like Starfield and something like that. Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not surprised you're here. You were gonna be here the moment you were even just uttered. That's simple as that. But
yes.
See, I mean, for myself, I did really enjoy Tears of the Kingdom, but I don't think it's gonna have that Breath of the Wild effect that it did. Do I think it's the better game? That's hard to say, actually. They're very similar.
I think it depends
different.
on your playstyle.
It really does.
Do you like to sit there building things and then just fucking around? Or do you just want to explore things?
Yeah, I don't know. They both offer so much unique. Alan Wake, I don't know anything about, but I do know it's come out the gate swinging. And also, apparently it has a lot of RE2 remake. A lot of people are comparing it to that. To the point of plagiarism.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
but I guess he doesn't get the plagiarism.
Well, I was just going to say, if you're going to be like something, if you want to be like RE2 Remake, that can't be a bad direction to go.
I mean, RE2 Remake was really well done.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2 is... I mean, Spider-Man 1 was incredibly well received. I played it for, 10 minutes, and I could see it, but it was open world, and I don't want to... So, I didn't.
I'm already tired.
Yeah, my vote will go to Zelda, because Zelda was a really good time, and I'm not going to be surprised if it's going to sweep a bunch of awards, but the one I think is going to win, if it's not Zelda, it'll probably be Spider-Man.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Put down Zelda for you then?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, it did show up here. I heard it was nowhere. And this is where we start to get into what does a category even mean, because we have best action
Yes.
game, which is not adventure, just action. Don't get it confused, people. And we have Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. Holy twos!
A lot of twos in there.
A two,
And a 6.
3 twos, a 6, and an incredibly bizarre concept that I want to try out. Is Hi-Fi Rush like Xbox exclusive?
Probably PC as well,
Yeah.
I think.
Do you know
'Cause
anything about it?
It is Bethesda Software's game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's kind of like Jet Set Radio, is it not?
It is a rhythm-based, like 3D action RPG beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen a bit of gameplay of it, and it seemed very satisfying, kind of like Hellsinger, but an action RPG.
Yeah.
So, but out of all the options, it's funny, if you had asked me like 15 years ago, I would have said Dead Island 2, because this is a game that has been forever in the making and came out probably as good as Dead Island 1. Take it for what you will. So,
Dead Island 2, its hype lasted longer. Okay.
Its
If you
hype
take
is its
one
legacy.
day for every year that it was delayed, it's longer than how much it was talked about after it released.
very much so. It very much came and went for something that was like this, is it ever going to show up kind of thing? And that just goes to show the gamers really don't know what they want. I think
No,
my
it's because you
vote-
wait too long and hype dies.
Well, you wait too long, you get passed between like 3 different developers, you get canceled, reignited, canceled, reignited. It's a tumultuous journry. But because it's
Dying Light 2 did the same.
Oh, poor Dying Light 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Armored Core, because it's the one I want to play on this list, and I have heard amazing things about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of stuck. Ghost Runner 2, Dead Island 2, Hi-Fi Rush, up in the air if I really care. But Armored Core, I have such a FromSoft love based on the games I have played. I haven't played an Armored Core game yet, and I'd like to at least give it a shot. So, as for if we're just talking strictly action, yeah, I'd be down for Armored Core. But at the same time, I've heard good things about Remnant too. But I'm going to go Armored Core.
I just like mechs. I think they're neat. I've always thought they're neat.
And see, that's one thing. I'm saying Armored Core, and I'm not a mech person.
Yeah. Oh, here's a category that we're probably not gonna. You might have some input. You have a VR now, do you not?
I do, but
I don't think
know
you've played
anything.
these. Yeah.
No. So best AR or VR/AR. We got Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Snaps. I don't know what Snaps is. I don't know what Humanity is. It looks kind of terrifying, actually. And Gran Turismo 7, I don't care.
Being in a car, but actually kind of.
Being in a car, in a movie in a car. I've seen some gameplay of Horizon Call of the Mountain, and it looks really neat. Resident Evil Village VR, I feel like that would be terrifying. I'm going to go Horizon on this one.
I'm gonna say Resident Evil because I've seen some people playing VR Resident Evil, and it looks like a completely different experience. And yes, probably terrifying, but also like Resident Evil 8 was like stupid, like scary, not like Resident Evil 7 being like traumatizing scary. So
yeah, it was much more like RE4 style as opposed to
Hey, monsters! Oh no! So yeah, my vote goes to Resident Evil just because it feels comfortable. It feels safe.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Horizon Call of the Mountain
Here's
because it does look neat.
the next category is one to say, I hate to say that I have been surprisingly participative, which is
Yes.
best mobile game. We have Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Hello
Have you played
Kitty.
Ever Crisis?
So funny that you asked that. I actually just downloaded it last night.
Ha.
But then, like after the initial download, it was like download the rest of the game. It was like 7 gigs. I'm like, I'm way too close to bed for this. Never mind. So Not yet is my answer. Yes, then we have Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Sure. Honkai Star Rail from the makers of the Genshin Impacts. So just, I think, a sci-fi one of those. One that I've mentioned more than once on this podcast. Monster Hunter Now. And Terra Nil. Oh my god, it's by Netflix.
Asterisks on that. But yes.
It has Netflix as it's something.
I'm aware.
Okay. Well, my vote.
It was on PC well before Netflix had anything to do with it.
Okay, I can accept that. But yeah, Monster Hunter Now has gotten some of my time, so I'm gonna say that. However, it's neat to see Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis here, especially after the horrible flop that was The First Soldier.
I thought that was wonderful.
Did you ever play it?
Nope.
I think I played a round of it in the beta, and I was like, everything about this wouldn't be too bad if I didn't have to do it on a phone.
And that's one of the things, right?
Yeah.
Mobile. I apologize if you're mobile fans. I can't stand touchscreen in general, even texting. Well, Tyler could attest to this. The amount of spelling mistakes I have, autocorrect regardless, because I'll put periods in or don't hit space right. I just hate mobile phone touchscreens in general. I hate them.
I don't mind some games that are made with that interface in mind, right? I hate it when you try to make me use a phone like a controller. I will never have the same kind of feedback that I will with buttons, and I want nothing to do with it. But if it's just holds and taps, sure, I can beat up a big lizard with a hammer. That's fine. So yeah, Monster Hunter Now.
And take its skin?
And take its skin, yes. Ooh, that's a callback.
It is a callback.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Hello Kitty.
I had a feeling that's what you were going for.
So I've played Terra Nil on PC, not the mobile version. It's a really cute, good game. I like it.
Got pictures of deer.
It's all about recreating, letting ecosystems flow, like come back after like desolate wastelands and all.
10 out of 10. Most deer on my screen right now.
Most deer on my screen. I think I'm gonna go with Monster Hunter Now as the winner, but I wouldn't mind seeing Terra Nil get some recognition.
All right, solid.
So I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
All right.
Don't sleep on Terra Nil though.
I'm intrigued by it actually.
It's neat. You're essentially like putting down things to grow ecosystems out of, and you have certain rules on how you place things down. So it's a bit of a puzzler, but yeah,
interesting.
I like it. All right, so best debut indie game. You'd think that we'd be both all over this, but Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder.
So
I know I know two of these.
I know two of these. I think I've heard of Dredge as well, but I know Venba.
I've seen Dredge a few places.
Venba is one that's like I think tells a very personal close to home story. I believe it's about immigrating to Canada and like learning to cook and maybe starting a restaurant. I don't know. It seemed really charming, but not something for me. Pizza Tower, it's just on crack. It's just Wario
this
Land
game just
on crack.
Exploded.
I think it's coming to Switch at some point though, and if it does and gets a physical, I might look into it. It seems like it's just a pretty hectic, fast-paced platformer. I don't
from the company Tour de Pizza.
Dredge is by Team 17, so that's probably decent. Cocoon is Annapurna, so it's probably very artsy. And wasn't Viewfinder kind of like what was that one game, The Witness or something like that, where it was like a puzzle kind of?
You're thinking of Superliminal, I think.
Right.
Where it's all about perspective.
Well, my vote goes to Pizza Tower because I don't know.
I'm doing Pizza Tower.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. We got some. So this is the big one, I guess. Best independent game, best indie of the year.
Yes.
Which Okay, so we have Cocoon again. Don't know, but it must be good if it got this far. Dave the Diver, which I played the demo for a little bit, not long enough to gauge my opinion, but I could see how it's a stupidly addictive and awesome game.
So the company behind Dave the Diver actually does not count as a indie developer. They've come out and said we are not an indie developer.
Scandalous.
But they're owned by NeoWiz.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's NeoWiz.
Beyond that, what does it say? Mint Rocket. So I couldn't tell you based on this information I have. Dredge again, which don't know, so can't speak to. Sea of Stars, nice to see you here.
Yes.
And Viewfinder. So yeah, it's a pretty easy vote. Mine goes to Sea of Stars, with a secondary nod to Dave the Diver because it looks neat. But yeah,
I do want to play Dave the Diver. But my vote for Sea of Stars. It's just absolutely play it. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I fucking love it.
It's getting there. I think we got a good chunk of these still to go.
Best community support. We got Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky. So just to kind of put this category in perspective, they have it as recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches.
So oddly enough, my vote for this goes to Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Based on that criteria of like keeping your fan base and whatnot in the know of what's happening, like they've kind of almost been like legally obligated to, since it was like such a financial burden.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, the game just keeps getting better and better. As for these other ones, I don't know. Baldur's Gate probably had some pretty transparent support too, but
it was early access for the last 4 years.
Yeah. It almost feels like cheating.
They've been doing nothing but that is kind of cheating.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Cyberpunk. I was going to say Baldur's Gate, but no, that's fair. It's Cyberpunk. I think gets that.
And I know
it did the No Man's Sky in a bigger fashion than No Man's Sky did No Man's Sky.
Well, it's funny that No Man's Sky is here with it too. But Final Fantasy 14. Oh, for some reason I thought it was 16. 14. I was going to say I didn't hear anything about 16 support, but yeah, I would think that I think that's who we voted for last year, actually.
I think so, yeah.
So shake things up, Cyberpunk. I think so.
Yeah, Cyberpunk. I think they've kind of earned that.
Now I'm actually confused because we are in the best ongoing category, your live service games, and Cyberpunk's a live service game now.
I don't think so.
Now I'm confused. So we have Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. You know what? I have no affiliation with this game whatsoever, but if he's listening, Apex, this one's for you, buddy.
I'm gonna go Final Fantasy 14 because screw you, buddy.
Fair, very fair.
No, Final Fantasy 14, it's still ongoing. I mean, I forget when Shadowbringers came out. I think it was last November or something. It's still highly popular.
They've been pretty consistent, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what's keeping Square Enix afloat nowadays. All right, here's everyone's favorite category, because there's never
it's pretty divisive.
A clear motive for it.
Yeah. What is Impact?
Games for Impact. Games for Impact. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Space for the Unbound. Chants of Sennar. Goodbye Volcano High.
Whoa, that actually came out?
Goodbye Volcano High?
Yeah, I remember this was like one of the things in I don't know if it was the sizzle reel or like the presentation for the PS5 launch, and it was like this weird anthropomorphic creature like dating sim visual novel game, and it was like that's a weird game to showcase the launch and the power of the PS5, and it just didn't come out. Yeah.
I don't know how to say this next one. Chia. Let's go with Chia. TCHIA. Terra Nil and Venba. Because the only one I know is Terra Nil, I'm going to go Terra Nil.
So I don't know what Chance of Sennar is. I had it pop up on a lot of like my I don't know, game purchase pages and being like, check it out.
Yep.
I'm gonna say Terra Nil though, because you know what that is, and I don't know what any of these other things really do. So
It 10 out of 10 has the most deer on the screen.
most deer on screen, 10 out of 10. All right. Here's a pretty important category. It might not affect us personally, but it affects many others. And we have the innovation in not inaccessibility. That would be a terrible award. Innovation in accessibility, which we're all
category for company with most layoffs.
Oh no. You know what? Looking at the groupings here, though.
Yeah.
So, we have Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. So, if we're talking about accessibility, and I don't know what these games specifically do, I know Street Fighter 6 added some mechanics to make the game significantly less complicated, but because even without that, there's still a meta to compete with, I'm going to go with Spider-Man 2, because if you're going to play something and accessibility is needed, something that's a nice, long, overarching cinematic support, and, you know, that just seems like the kind of thing that's, like, more of a single-player experience, right?
Yep.
That's my vote.
Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Like, it reminds me of God of War and its accessibility stuff.
God of War's accessibility was really on point.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Diablo 4. And not that I look too much into any of these games' accessibilities. I should really. I did read a little quick excerpt on each one. But maybe this isn't the best one. But Diablo 4 actually had some accessibility options I chose to use, such as highlighting characters, making certain text sizes bigger, and things like that. I noticed that it does have like a screen reader, and some other accessibility options that are actually very important to some people. So what those are, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember seeing them and being like, oh, that's actually really cool that some of that stuff's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a mental note, just not a mental note of what.
Gotcha. No, I'm all for more games being able to be played. The voice acting.
Yes.
No.
So, best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. We got Ben Starr of Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba from Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Melanie Liburd, Alan Wake 2, Neil Newbon from Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal from Marvel Spider-Man 2. Now, granted, a lot of these I haven't played. Final Fantasy 6 I did. I'm going to go with Ben Starr. Just, I really like Clive's voice throughout the game.
So
it really suited the character.
As much as I think Idris Elba can do no wrong, he's pretty great actor all around, and he just brought
Knuckles.
He brought so much sex appeal to Knuckles, which is so strange. I'm actually going to go with
sexy.
That's so strange. It's so strange that Sonic fans. But I'm going to go with Yuri Lowenthal because he always knocks it out of the park in any role that he is, and I'm pretty sure his Peter Parker is just on point. So he is going to get my vote for this category.
Yuri? I'm glad we aren't picking a lot of the same ones.
No.
That makes me happy.
We have different opinions. That's what people come here for, maybe.
I mean, there's not many that we've had the same go on for a lot of these.
They've been pretty staggered. Yeah.
Yeah. This is nice.
I think we're starting to get into some of the more of the big boy awards, the more noteworthy ones that aren't just individual genres but entire categories of their own, because we have best audio design, which is recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. So not music, but just satisfying noises. And already I'm disappointed that Liza P is not here because those delightful parry clangs. But we do have Alan Wake 2.
They do not match Sekiro's parry clangs, that's why.
Okay,
the parry clangs in Sekiro are just so good.
Dead Space is probably my pick, but we also have Hi-Fi Rush, which in a rhythm game I'm sure is very important. Spider-Man 2 with its thwips. and Resident Evil 4 for its Kerchows. Uh,
For its fucking bear traps.
it's always a fucking bear trap. I haven't played it, but I'm gonna go with Dead Space just because I know that a big part of Dead Space's horror is its atmosphere, and sound design is key for atmosphere. And I know that
Yes.
the original Dead Space was already pretty incredible for it, and the remake was just on point from
Icing
what
on the
I've
cake?
seen. Yeah, pretty much. So my vote's gonna go with Dead Space for best audio design.
So this is a little hard because I've only played one of these. That was Resident Evil 4, and I'm going to say it shouldn't be Resident Evil 4, mainly because of Ashley and how much she catch be out of breath, and you just hear her, and it's like, Jesus Christ, shut up, please.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Dead Space, pretty much the same reason as you, because it is they excelled at atmosphere. But I'm going to go with Alan Wake 2.
Interesting.
Because it's very horror, and it's very in that sense, it's good to need that good sound design, and there's a reason that it's excelling right now. And where Dead Space, you don't hear too much about it. Maybe that's because it's a remake. I don't know, but
I haven't seen much on Alan Wake 2, but from the recognition I'm getting, it might want to be something I have a glance at.
I played the first one a little bit, not too much, but
get rid of the demons with the flashlight game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next up is Best Score and Music for Outstanding Music and inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. So I'm glad they finally put and licensed soundtrack in there. But we got Alan Wake 2. I'm not going to name the composers. I'm sorry. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
By the Nintendo Sound Team.
Composed by the Nintendo Sound Team.
I like the Zelda music, and I like the music in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's not the Zelda game I think of music when I think of, which is a shame, because music in Zelda used to be like peanut butter and jelly. But nowadays they went for a much more atmospheric. So when those music cues hit, oh boy, do they hit. But they are few and far between. Because I don't know the music of really any of these, but going off of pedigree and familiarity, I'm going to say Final Fantasy 16, because it probably has incredible music.
So I'm going to go with Final Fantasy 16 as well, just because of the incredible music in it.
Because it does.
I wouldn't be surprised if Baldur's Gate... I've seen a lot of recognition for Baldur's Gate's music. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a good contender for there. Hard to say.
Ooh. Yeah, we're getting down to the last 4 categories here.
Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah.
This one's you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
So for
you did audio design than I did.
So for best art direction, we have Alan Wake 2, who has been for a lot of these awards. My goodness.
They've got a lot, yeah.
It's surprising, because I didn't think Alan Wake was the most, wanted franchise to return. It had its fans, but... Oh, also, maybe because it's Jake Gyllenhaal. That could be it. But we have Hi-Fi Rush. We have Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, or The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Lies of P. Just... Krot is beautiful. And it is... they really knocked it out of the park when taking that Souls design of a very, very handcrafted, intricate world. The level design is surprisingly memorable. I don't know if for those who have heard before when I was talking about Elden Ring, it didn't have those kind of areas that really stuck with me because there was so much of it. As where with Krot, it had that true Dark Souls. I remember where I am, where I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I am such a sucker for that kind of steampunky Victorian Gothic setting, and they just it looks so good. So yes, Lies of P. Although it's kind of neat to see Mario here because it's the trippy looking one.
It is the LSD one.
Yeah,
the kid-friendly LSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lies of P. It's pretty much the same reasons. It's certainly one that's gonna stick in my head. Very, very nice. Everything was decorated very nice. Level designs were on point. Yeah. Mario would be cool, but at the same time, it's that 3D side-scrolling Mario. And I'm going to be a little boomerish and say
I
2D
want
Mario should be pixel art.
I want pixels, but yeah, Lies of
Yeah.
P is undeniably like they were so on point with what they realized for their art direction. The puppets, everything feels like it's in place in this world they built.
Yeah. Next up is Best Narrative. And again, we got Alan Wake 2. And again, we got Baldur's Gate 3. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Sporterman. Um, you
I'll go
you're
Baldur's
the
Gate 3.
yeah you're the only one who's played any of these games, and
And
I
I'm picking
know
one that I haven't. Oh, I've only played one of them.
well that's still more than I have, and
Fair.
for Final Fantasy 16 not to be your immediate pick. I know that was one thing that you like you didn't say the story was bad, but you said it just kind of happened.
It had its high points and its low points, but some of its low points felt low, even though they weren't, just because the highs were super high.
It weren't no Final Fantasy 6. My vote is actually going to go towards Spider-Man 2 because it
Spider-Man 2?
has it has Venom, and it's pretty hard to do a Spider-Man story with Venom and have it be bad.
So, just on that kind of note, Final Fantasy 16, I wish I could give him more awards. It was a really good game. I really enjoyed it. And I'd be kind of tempted to go back to it, but whole other story.
Could have just not been what you were looking for at the time, right? It might be something on a replay you get more out of.
Well, I beat it,
Yeah,
but yeah.
but it didn't have that oomph. Like, Final Fantasy is just something that sticks with you.
Oh no, it was a thrill ride.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a roller coaster, not a journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a journey, but yeah.
This
It's good.
this one was me, right?
Yes.
Yes. Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in direction and game design. So, in other words, they knew what they wanted and they did it. Alan Wake 2, again. Alan Wake's starting to seem like the weird guy at the awards this year. It's like Kegel's found his favorite game this year, and he's like, hey, put him everywhere. I want it to sell. Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm going to go with Mario.
I also want to go...
weird reason. Like, they did something very... It was comfy, but at the same time, it was on borderline, like, bizarre.
You know what the weird thing
was
about...
bizarre.
Yeah, very much so. But the weird thing about all of these, including Mario, but somehow not including Mario, is these are all very established sequels. And that's
Yes.
why it kind of makes it seem weird to pick it for the best direction, because there was already a direction laid in place for them. They just had to expand upon it. And the same goes for Mario, because it's just fucking Mario, but it's also a brand new Mario, which is so weird, because it's not new Mario, but it is a new... They've ruined the franchise with that naming convention. They really did.
Yes. They ruin everything with their naming convention, to be fair.
Yeah, but no, it seems like Mario just knocked it
I
out
think
of the
between
park.
Mario and Baldur's Gate, they both kind of deserve to be up there.
Yeah.
Marvel Spider-Man 2, I don't know. I didn't hear too much on how it changed the game up. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, yeah, it had some pretty neat things, but it's... I haven't played it, so I can't say too much, but like the building machines thing doesn't really appeal to me.
You won't know if it does or not until you start doing it. I can safely say that.
Okay, that's fair. And Alan Wake 2, I don't know enough. Baldur's Gate 3 versus Baldur's Gate 2, it's been a long time since. It was like reinventing the franchise with this one.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Baldur's Gate 3 won, but Mario, yeah, it really did something else for that 2D Mario.
Now, we've got the big one, people.
Yes, the Game of the Year. And there's some contenders on here.
So, there's some that I figured would be here, some that I'm now not surprised, and there is one that actually really surprises to see me here.
Yes. So, Game of the Year, we got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. When was the last time you saw two Nintendo games in the Game of the Year discussion?
When was the last time you saw a Mario game in a Game of the Year discussion? I don't even know if Odyssey was up for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's a good question.
Yeah, but Zelda, I figured, like I said, you even said there was going to be another Zelda. It was going to be in the Game of the Year discussion. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by Spider-Man 2 because it almost kind of has that Zelda effect. Like it was a big enough release that everyone's going to have their eyes on it. Resident Evil 4 is just kind of... It's not surprising, but it is also interesting that Resident Evil is like now one of those kind of franchises. Like Game of the Year caliber franchises, right? Baldur's Gate is it's an interesting thing to see such a niche franchise get the recognition that it has this year. Like it has been a wild year for Baldur's Gate. Yeah. And then Alan Wake, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but apparently you're doing a lot of things right today.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal, yep. They're like, he's not the best Hulk, but wait, I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
that's a completely different person.
That's Mark Ruffalo or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, but the guy that was the Hulk.
What are you going on about?
I don't even know. My personal pick, and it wouldn't be my pick, but given the options and what I played, is going to be Zelda. And also, I just think Zelda's going to win, like almost by default.
So you're saying Zelda?
Yeah, I'm going to say Zelda. I want Mario to win, though.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, but that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the gamble and say Baldur's Gate 3.
I would be the surprise upset. And it would be a banner year for, like, old school CRPG fans. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's done very, very well.
It's surprising.
I mean, clearly, it's between Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2, I think they had the most nominees.
Oh, yeah.
This year?
Zelda was on 2-3 different categories, as where, like, Alan Wake was on, like, 9. Same with
Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate are on 9 nominees.
Jeez. Yeah, they're going to be walking away with at least something this year. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like another Game of the Year awards, which is weird because there was like a lot of really good games that came out this year, and there was also Company of Heroes 3.
Yeah,
didn't know.
I'm a little upset Sea of Stars didn't show up more often.
I am, but I'm also surprised that it showed up as much as it did. Just, it is one of those things that falls under the more indie category. Like,
yeah,
I think I did enough ripping on this game last year when we did this, but like, something like Stray. Like, Stray doesn't feel like indie, even though it's indie, as where Sea of Stars is like a very indie. So indie that it needed my money. They didn't need it, they just got it.
That's fair.
But
that's fair.
Yeah, so it's nice to see, especially too, like not even just one of those things where like best art direction or something like that, or impact, but up for best RPG of the year. Like, as far as categories go,
that's pretty substantial.
That's one of the categories that I actually somewhat give a damn about who's going to win.
Yeah.
So, but...
And another thing, we said this last year, if your favorite game doesn't win Game of the Year or any of these categories, so what? You're just watching the Game Awards for the actual announcements.
Yeah, we just want to see them announce.
Don't be a corporate shill.
Forspoken 2 and... Actually, here's an interesting bit of speculation. What do you think they might announce at the Game of the Year Awards? Do you think we're finally going to see something like Silk Song?
I'm going to counter that question with another question. Do you find that waiting and not hearing anything, such as Silk Song, kind of diminishes your hype for it?
That's hard to say because I don't really give a damn about Red Dead Redemption 2 anymore. I don't know, to be honest. I like getting new games revealed, though. That's always exciting, even if they're not games I want to play. I like just knowing the games are happening, and maybe I will think they are neat. Now, as for, like, the length of, like, reveal to, like a Dead Island 2, like, I did not give a damn when that came out, and we mentioned earlier that was a long stretch. So I think it just depends on my level of investment and how long that investment has staying power. Like,
okay, Silk Song.
Yeah, I'm still into Silk Song.
Oh, I'm still into it, but are you nearly as hyped as you once were?
I feel like that answer changes depending on how recently I played Hollow Knight.
Fair.
Because every time I do play Hollow Knight, I am all about it.
So, things I'd like to see at the Game Awards. Obviously, Silk Song. I'm not getting my hopes up. Likewise with a Silent Hill collection.
Or
and Silent Hill 2 remake.
I was going to say, some news on Silent Hill 2 remake. Maybe probably a new trailer for that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Yep. I'd like to see some Konami stuff.
It would be nice to see some Konami stuff. Really, like a new Castlevania would be mind-blowing.
Yes. That's not part of Dead Cells.
Yeah, or we'll probably get something like either Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter 6 like DLC characters or something. I wouldn't be surprised if they reveal something like that.
Yep.
Probably an update on, I don't know, PlayStation kind of bows out of a lot of these things. But, Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that might be something
that
we'll
would make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Elden Ring DLC.
Eagles does love his Elden
I feel
Ring.
like we might get a lot of DLC news for games.
Lies of P DLC would be nice, but it's way too early to ask that because they just said, hey, we're going to make some because you guys like the game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. We will have to wait and see, which I believe the next episode that comes out will most likely be the results of the Kegels.
Yes.
But I don't know about you. I think I'm ready to close out this one for today.
I think so. I think we've rambled enough. We've taken some guesstimations for it.
Yeah.
And that should tie us off till the Game Awards actually happen.
The Kegels.
So, with that said, what's everyone's nominations themselves? Like, what is your guesses for Game of the Year or any of these categories? Let us know over on Twitter or Instagram at OptionalBossPC, and we will see you next time. I've been Josh. The other guy's been Tyler.
Bye.
And take care.